everyone. Welcome to Platinum ABC. At Platinum ABC, we build a reference work of knowledge about everything platinum jewelry related. Everything from basics to the expertise, but most importantly, the useful things that are applicable to today's production. We have an interview to share with you today. He is a certified expert in platinum alloys and manufacturing. He's been working with precious metals since 1976. And throughout these years, he's been consulting, publishing research, training on casting, and a frequent speaker at tech symposiums. All the way from Germany, we were lucky to catch up with him as he shares with us the future and innovations of platinum. Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you an interview with Mr. Klaus Wiesner.
I worked platinum since the mid of the 70s when I started as apprenticeship in Germany. And the first time I was in contact with platinum was I have this wow effect when I have to touch platinum. I was in a strong room and I have to give a colleague of me an ingot which was casted. It was a 20 millimeter, 100 by 200 millimeter ingot.
Like the size of an iPhone?
Something like that, a little bit bigger maybe, that's it. And he asked me, give it to me, and I want to touch it with 2 fingers and lift it over, but it doesn't work because this kind of ingot was 8.5 kg. So it was unbelievable for me, and that was the first time, oh, what kind of alloy is this? So I was really amazed. And since this time, as longer as I worked with platinum, as more I was fascinated, because it's not only the weight, there's a lot of other, let me say, properties of this material is so fascinating. And of course, over the long time, I share this metal in the industry. Platinum was always the most highest value material. The price was always much far over gold. And only in the last 2 years, maybe, it drops down. But before it was a fantastic and very high precious material. So it was always fascinating.
There are new technology that we see are just, being used in China. Mm-hmm. For example, we went to some of the factories and saw they're using diffusion bonding. Yeah. And that's actually, it's been out there for a long time. Mm-hmm. And China is only seriously using this in mass production scale in the last year. What else do you see that China could be doing?
They could be doing a lot. They're doing fantastic job, to be honest. But I can compare it always to what I know from Europe or from other countries in the world. The big difference, of course, is the volume which you have. You cannot change this because this is the market. But what you can do in the manufacturing process, maybe you can establish a little bit more other technologies, because your focus, I would like to say, far more than half of the production is casting. So your main production is casting. I think there's more possibilities for other methods, maybe stamping, pressing, using semi-finished products, and all this kind of things. And of course, what you mentioned before, there are other technologies. We were talking about bimetal casting, diffusion bonding. If you create multicolor products, things like that, I think there's a big potential to implement new technologies or other technologies which are available on the market. Yeah, and maybe it's a question of how do you want to organize your production? I see, and this was very interesting, you have also the implementation now of robotics in some areas. This is a new potential for the future as well, because the robotics can control a process maybe much more better, because they are getting not tired and doing things what a human may be doing when he's getting tired over a period of time. They're doing it always in the same way. So there's a lot of things which can be implemented in your production technology.
I think automation definitely is one of the big things on every factory's mind, because labor cost is going up. It's harder to get trained workers. We've seen it with what you're saying. They're using robotic arms. They're going to CNC, the number of CNC machines in the factories. So Are there any other things that's already out there that you didn't see that was in the factories?
I see it. I see everything what's on the market, even here, but on a different scale, as I mentioned. So I think you have to maybe to analyze your process, and you have to think about where you can optimize the process, more automated, more machined, and then you're getting to, let me say, higher quality. A machine part is always better, like casted parts, let me say. But in some reason, a casted part has a lot of advantages or cannot be made maybe in machining. So you have to really to go deep in your product design and thinking about how I can do it best, or how can I do it, let me say, more economical. Yeah. And I think there's a big potential going much more deeper in your manufacturing process.
Bring that question to a little bit wider scale. What are some of the technology? Because I know there's so many things that's being done, for example, in aerospace or in industrial. What are some of the technology, maybe just around the corner, that might change the way jewelry is produced and manufactured today?
Okay. When we are looking over the fence, let me see, we see new technologies are coming up. We are talking about maybe powder metallurgy. This is a powder is a new kind of form and shape from the material. You can, let me say, transform it into the product in a different way. You have to melt it, maybe like selective laser melting. You have to inject it and maybe sintering to a part. There are different kind of ways to produce parts now. It's always a question how many parts are for one of a kind piece. You cannot do that. But for mass production, what do you have here in China? It definitely makes sense, because you have this big volume, you have many, many pieces. And I think to adopt one of these technologies in the near future would be very helpful, let me say, to have a constant high quality in platinum jewelry.